Just start recording. I live in Texas, so I was living in California. Born and raised in
Oh,
the
where?
Bay Area.
Oh, sick. Where
Yeah,
in Texas?
Austin,
Dude,
pretty
I
much
love
the
Austin.
second California.
Yeah, I love
After
Austin.
everyone.
I visited like last year and it was hella fun.
And you just moved from Seattle, right?
Yeah. Um, it's funny because it's like raining now right now, which is weird. Apparently weird for LA, but it's like it looks like Seattle outside. It's like I haven't even left.
Uh, I want to ask, but I kind of want to just wait till we get into like the personal questions about the move.
Sure.
But yeah, I'll just go ahead and start so we could just
Okay,
knock
let's
through
get
the article titles and then we'll start getting into that. Uh, all right. It's your boy Kloth, and I'm back with another video, man. Look, if I'm not starting somewhere, I'm not going nowhere. And this is gonna be another segment of Kloth Talk. Now, again, Kloth Talk is just where I'm grabbing the article titles from Hypebeast Complex, and it's talking about sneakers, fashion, all that jazz that I love, and I bring on people who have those same passions as well. Now, I just want to give you, every time I talk to someone on here, I always want to give flowers where flowers are due, because you've definitely helped me with some tips on like editing. And I don't think I've ever I think I may have commented before on like one of your videos when you like help people edit, but like you've definitely helped me with editing when it comes to Premiere Pro. Because I think you like did a video on how to put images behind you. I mean, text behind you. And then you also did one on how to like color code so you can keep things in order. I was like, damn, I never knew you could do that. And then you posted the video. But man, I don't even think sneaker enthusiast is the right word for you. Like, I feel like sneaker like connoisseur is more so the right word. Content creator, all around. Just seems like just through your videos, you're a real like humble dude, but then you also just love what you're doing as well. We have Ralph Romeo. That's how you say that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Romeo. Everyone thinks it's Romeo for some reason. I think like I'm like, isn't it like a
Romeo.
famous story? Like Romeo and Juliet is like one of the biggest stories in the world. Like, how does you think it's Romeo? But it's
Did you get a lot of jokes on that in like high school and middle school? Or did they make you like, oh, your name's Romeo, so you should just be in the play? Like, did you ever come around?
Not really. I'm surprised that I never got those jokes. I think people like were like, "No, that's too easy of a joke to make." But I think
okay, it's kind of corny now. That's corny as hell. So yeah, we'll definitely get more into your story and all that, but let's get through these topics. So let's jump into that first article. Yeah, it started in person with just me, and then I have my homeboy here. We'll just do it back to back. But yeah, it's been virtual, just so I can meet more people and get more perspectives.
Ooh, we got a classic.
Yeah. So this article title reads, "The Air Jordan 12 flu game may be returning in 2025." Now there's like many reasons I wanted to bring this one up. But before we get into like the 12 in itself and the flu game in itself, where do the 12s rank in Jordan silhouettes for you? Because I know you're a big Jordan dude.
12. Dang. I mean, obviously, I go like the 1 through 6. 1 through 7 is gonna be like my bread and butter, and then it goes. I want to say 12, just because that was like it's more nostalgic for me. Like the shoot, which one was it that like the playoffs were like the shoe that kind of got me into like liking like sneakers or like liking like researching sneakers. So the playoff 12s have always had a special place in my heart. So I put it over like
you might say something.
I don't put it over the 11 like looks wise, but like in like nostalgia reasons, I put it over the 11. But yeah, 12. The 12's up there. It's not like not up there. You feel me? It's like it's just hard to like rank it with like at this like photo now. It's just like
it's also, I feel like, kind of like a forgotten silhouette. Like 12 used to get a way more colorways, way more just like love. And I feel like 12s just as like shoes have become like a little bit more slimmer, I guess, like with the one and like other like, Sambas and all that, like bulkier shoes kind of got transitioned out. But I feel like,
Sure.
they had the Gamma 12s, the Taxis, the
Yeah, I
Flu
forgot.
Games, the Rising Sun 12s, like all those like are good colorways, but they kind of just fell off now. Like I feel like
Yeah,
they
they
don't
didn't really like try to push the 12s for some reason. But like going back to the point of your like people gravitated toward like the skinnier silhouette, I think it's gonna like go back. Like I feel like the 12s are gonna have a comeback, bro. Like I think this Flu game is coming at the perfect time. Like I think what does it say, 2025? Maybe like if they come earlier, like I think like right now is the time for them to bring back like the bulkier like silhouettes, like the 12s, bring back like the 15s, bro. Like bring back
the 15s are good too.
like bring
Hell,
back
even the 14s.
14s, like bring back the 17s. Plus these ones are a lot more comfortable than like the 1s, 2s, 3s. Like the 12s are comfortable, bro.
Oh, can I not? Oh, can't enlarge that image. But the other question that I wanted to ask you, because the story behind the Flu games, Jordan caught the flu. He's still battling through, the flu in the game, but still putting up, shots. I'm not really a big basketball guy, but like I understand like the cultural impact that these shoes have. Do you feel like that was the thing carrying the 12 silhouette then?
I think so. I think story is always gonna carry a sneaker or a product, especially in like the basketball realm. Like if you like look at like Anthony Edwards shoe right now, like that shoe as like just being there is like cool and all, but like the fact that Anthony Edwards is going off, like doing these crazy dunks, like going bananas this season, like makes his shoe even better. And the fact that he's like more of a personality, like makes that shoe like a better sneaker. So it's like it just kind of reminds me of like this Flu game, like how Jordan like had that crazy story in this shoe, making this sneaker like iconic.
Now, again, I'm not cultured when it comes, like I know the basics and I know like the main names. Is Anthony Edwards the one that has that alien looking shoe that just came out?
That's Wembanyama. That's the 7-foot dude that's been going crazy on Twitter.
Okay.
Anthony Edwards is the Adidas guy that he's from Atlanta. He's on the Timberwolves, but he's like I think
he's about to roast me.
He's like
they
a young.
Roast me. Hold on, I gotta look it up. I gotta look it up.
Your next favorite player.
Sure. Anthony Edwards. Yeah, okay, yeah, I know who Anthony Edwards is. He was in that movie.
Yeah, he was in Hustle.
Yeah.
Okay,
cool.
But yeah, like the fact that his sneaker like looks like that, plus his like additional story that he's bringing to it, is like just gonna make this product more iconic. Just kind of like how the Flu game was.
So how do you feel now about like, because I remember growing up, you get your little raffle ticket, you go wait in line, and like, the overall experience of getting a shoe like a Flu game or like, or a Space Jam or like a Cool Gray was like, it felt realer because like you have to physically go get that shoe, you have to wait, and like you may not get it because other people got, it was like a whole thing. So like, do you kind of feel like sneakers, as we transition into like the digital world, is kind of like, because people say like sneaker culture is kind of dead, and I feel like a piece of that, I wouldn't say it's dead, but I feel like a piece of that is just because like there used to be a camaraderie about it, like sneakers in itself.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about sneaker culture currently?
I feel like saying that it's dead is kind of like a whole end of the spectrum. Like I wouldn't say it's dead, but like you said, like saying pieces of it like feels like it's dead makes sense, because like I feel like back then we looked at sneakers more of like a trophy, like to obtain, and that's why we were camping out for releases. That's why we were raffling for every like hype sneaker, because it felt like we were achieving something. Like we felt like we were like it was hard to like get them. But like now there's just so much coming out. Like it's so like saturated to the point where it's like hard to keep up with what's releasing, like what sneakers work well with our clothes that we're buying, like to the point where it's like all we really need is like a couple pairs in the rotation, if a couple, like yeah. So I feel like sneakers are never gonna go away, in a sense. Like there's always gonna be like the new kid that falls in love with sneakers and like falls in love with the stories, like looks at the flu game and reads about Michael Jordan for the first time and like falls in love with that. So sneakers are never gonna like go away. But like as we get older, we're gonna realize what sneakers we need to like we're actually consuming and like spending our money on, because like we obviously have more stuff to worry about. But like learning and like seeing everything release is like dope. Like I might not necessarily pick up the flu game, but like I do appreciate that it's coming back and like they're showing love and they're bringing that story back to tell as far as Jordans and like how these Jordans are being released. So yeah, sneakers are never gonna die in my opinion.
No, they won't. Especially as it's become like I want to say it was $1 billion industry at this point
100%.
now. Like no one's gonna completely say, "Oh yeah, it's dead. I'm never buying sneakers again."
Yeah, and like the reason why we got into fashion and sneakers is because of the community aspect. Like low key, I don't think we would be having this like conversation through this digital like space if it wasn't for sneakers. So it's like that's like that community is just gonna live on and it's gonna keep on like recycling, you know? So that's my take on sneakers being dead. Like you don't have to be wearing sneakers for it to be like a thing, you know?
Yeah. And I think it's just dope too. I mean, you've made this point, you know, in your response, but like we definitely don't get stories like this often where it's like the story of the flu game 12s, like that's not a story that repeats itself. I would even say like this is like a once in a lifetime shoe.
100%.
Like a basketball player who is battling with the flu and still performing at like the highest. Like that story is just incredible. So like this is definitely one of those shoes. I might get them just because like I love
to see you rocking them, bro. Like I said, like this is a good time for this sneaker to come out. Like baggy pants, like baggy fits, like with like the low key color blocking. Like I could see this sneaker doing well.
And I low key miss when people used to like overtly match their shoes. Like they had the flu game shirt to match with the flu shirt. Like the whole outfit would be around and based on the shoe. Like let's bring back that.
I would say like flu game on your shirt, like literally like with like the X, like Jordan had like the face logo with the X's as the eyes because it was like the sick logo.
Oh yeah. Wasn't that on the bottom of the shoe?
No, it was just like on shirts. It was like part of like the merch like, that come with it. But it was funny. People just rock the whole fit, the whole black.
I could have sworn that same logo was on the shoe somewhere. Before we move off this, one last question.
Yeah.
Do you think the design of the shoe is more important than the story, or do you prefer a greater story than design?
I'm gonna put design first because like that's what you're looking at, like right, like story will like help, but like at the end of the day, you're putting on the shoe, you're looking at the shoe. Like you're not gonna buy like a what's in it, like a if you like One Piece, like you're not gonna buy the One Piece Skechers because of like one like you're obviously gonna want to look tight before you buy the product. So
I'm not gonna lie too. I'm like half and half with it, but they did a One Piece collab with Puma, and I was that's not too bad. I've been contemplating it for a little bit, but I feel you though. It's definitely the design of the shoe over the story. Like the story helps, but like the design, definitely important. I mean, let me make sure I didn't mess that up. All right, so let's jump into the next article.
Let's get it.
The infamous beef, you can't escape it nowhere.
Hey, perfect timing too.
Exactly. All right, so this article title reads, J. Cole apologizes to Kendrick Lamar, says he's removing 7-Minute Drill from streaming, which as of yesterday, I think is officially off of streaming. Before we get into it, which music or which catalog do you prefer? Are you more so like you lean towards J. Cole or Kendrick in this?
Ooh, J. Cole or Kendrick. I feel like what would you say like the ciphers like that? Like I'm a fan of both artists. Like I have like tracks that I really like mess with from both artists. But I guess I lean towards Kendrick. Because like J. Cole, like I see as more of like lyricist, like bar type dude, like isn't making like songs like work out anymore. Like you can't play a shit at the club. You feel me? Like it's like it's not like that. So I haven't really like listened to J. Cole since like or been replaying his stuff since Forest Hills Drive. So
That's
yeah,
fair.
I kind of lean towards Kendrick in this situation.
Yeah, I definitely when I started, I've always been into rap, but I grew up in the Bay Area. So like my knowledge of rap and hip hop was solely based on the artists that were local to me. And like the first artist that I remember listening to that was like of the conscious or like of this caliber of rapper was J. Cole. So like, you know, my introduction was like the warm up, the come up, and like Friday Night Lights, all that stuff. So I definitely lean more towards J. Cole, but like I'm not gonna say Kendrick is terrible.
Yeah.
They both make great music, but there's a lot of conversation about his diss to Kendrick Lamar and then him apologizing. So how do you what's your take on that?
I feel like he's like I feel like he's apologizing because it didn't hit as hard as like he thought it would like hit, you know? Like listening to it, I was just like okay, like it's like it didn't hit as hard as how Kendrick initially came, which is like why I feel like he retracted and why all the stuff about like, oh, this is like just friendly banter, like this is like just like a friendly situation. Like that's why all this is coming out because J. Cole's retaliation wasn't that like tough, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I feel
that's,
like
that's how I feel.
it makes me so annoyed too because it's not like Kendrick dropped a whole song. It was a feature on another song. It was like maybe at max 16 bars or something. Like it's not like he dropped a whole.
Like it wasn't like a diss track. It was just like they just caught strays, and it was just
bro,
like
literally. Like I'm like, bro. And then I honestly think, because I downloaded that album. I think the song that was before, which it may not be before, but the one with Daylight and Absol, the one that's called Pie on that album, I think that's more so I would deem as the diss versus the 7-Minute Drill. Because honestly, 7-Minute Drill didn't really do it for me. And I'm a big J. Cole fan. I was just like, it's all right, but you didn't really say no much, bro. Like you just kind of just talked for real.
Yeah. I feel like that's why he's retracting it. It's like there was no firepower behind it.
And then, as of yesterday, you know, Future, Rick Ross, all these, The Weeknd, ASAP Rocky are now all targeting Drake. What do you think of?
Did you listen to Drake's track?
Yeah, I listened to it. I was kind of like, I guess cool. I maybe I need to give it more listens.
Are you a Drake fan? That's
like,
why. That's
but
why.
look, this is my thing. Look, it's not like I hate him because obviously of everyone that's trying to attack him, he probably has the most replay value of all these artists.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Talking about clubs or like just like if you need like a vibe or like a mood, like he has that music. His catalog is just so vast. So like, yeah, I like his music, but like there's like a bunch of artists that I put above Drake. But I feel like his response, given that everybody's attacking him, I don't even think he needs a response at this point. Like he could have gone without.
Like he could have just went on without the response, and it's just like, okay, like money talks at the end of the day. Like, like I'm still the better, like not the better artist, but I'm still the more popular, like most streamed artist. It's like you didn't have to retaliate, but I did appreciate the track. Like Like I thought he came with it. Like I'm glad I heard like something from Drake, you know? Like it reminds me of like back to back, like when him and Meek Mill had that beef. Like this is a song like I feel like could be streamed, you know?
Yeah. And I also feel like he didn't like take that, even the diss he put out, I feel like he didn't really take that seriously. He was kind of just like, oh boy, like everyone's dissing me. Like, okay, I guess I'll say something. Like, it didn't feel like he was like, oh no, I'm about to show y'all like why I'm the greatest. It kind of just felt like I'll put it out.
Like you said, like Kendrick's this wasn't like a diss track. It was just like him just stating like, nah, I'm the best. Like I'm not like saying anything like crazy towards a different person, you know? And like at the end of the day, I really think it's like I think it's just like friendly banter. Like this is all like a publicity thing. Like this is bringing hip hop like more eyes and like this is what hip hop like was lacking throughout the last couple of years. Like there was no no oomph to hip hop. Like there's no like
everybody buddy, everybody trying to get along.
this is tight. I feel like this is what like the game needed.
It's Chicago. But like I will say, I am gonna be disappointed if Kendrick Lamar does not drop anything because he's been very quiet. If he does that, calls them out like he did with like the Control verse, and like he doesn't put anything else out, it's like, bro, why'd you do it? Like,
yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna be annoyed as hell because it's like people are waiting for you because you started this. They're waiting for you to kind of like
you kind of just like threw the straight. Like Control was random too. Like
yeah, no, I remember that day, bro.
We were just like
that day was crazy.
Like,
that's when like that's when people used to watch that. Like they used to like because it was the BET Awards. Like I used to like that was like a moment. Like I used to sit down and watch the BET. Like I can't remember the last time I sat down and watched that. But like I remember watching that when it aired, and I was just like, nah, he's different, bro. He's different.
Yeah, for sure. No, Kendrick is always gonna be the better like rapper, in my opinion. But I don't know. I'm just a great fan, so
I respect that. I mean, you probably hear it more often. Like it's just, and that's one thing that like the day that J. Cole dropped his diss, I was going to war with people in my DMs all day. So I'm like, you can't call somebody like people are saying like Kendrick's better, but like I was like, my main question would be like, how often do you revisit his music? And it's like, well, I don't think replay value should matter. But it's like, well, if you're gonna say he's the greatest and you never go back to his music to listen to it, that kind of just proves the point. Like he's just
sure.
like, he's good, but like you don't go back to listen to his songs. So it's like you can't say he's the greatest.
Yeah, for sure. Like I try to say that point to all my homies too. It's like saying like oh, I guess you're not a basketball like person. But it's like,
no, don't do that. Say it.
Like I'm a big Kyrie fan, but it's like saying Kyrie is a better basketball player than Steph Curry because like he dribbles better or he could finish like layups better. But it's just like it's like undeniable that Steph is like just the better player. But yeah, that's what I think about it.
No, I feel that. Yeah. So it's just interesting to see their reaction to, because it's been like I thought it was gonna kind of like dissipate and like people are gonna forget about it, but like this is like going 2 weeks strong now. People are still talking about this diss.
For sure.
So it's just interesting. But let's jump into the next article. All right. So this article title reads I'm not reading that. Adidas Rivalry Low 86. Real Madrid changes colors in the sun. These suck.
What sneaker silhouettes are you rocking with nowadays? Like, what is your like rotation looking like?
Bro, honestly, I kind of like. So, I've sold maybe 80% of my closet. So shoes, clothes included, just because I was no longer like happy with my closet, and I just wasn't like I didn't feel comfortable in the clothes anymore. So I just started like leaning to things that I wanted to buy versus like letting things inspire me or influence me to purchase. So like the shoes that I like are it's so up in the air. Like The last pair of sneakers I bought were some Kiko Asics.
All right, which ones?
The Gel Infinities.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, and I'll probably end up getting all 3 colorways of those, the black and the green, because they're just so comfortable in the fire. So I've kind of been leaning, like, company wise, I've been leaning towards Asics, Solomon, and I would say Nike. Like, I've been looking
just
to the Air Max.
Easier to put on, on with everyday like outfits, just like wearing like not like a running shoe, but like a sleeker like training shoe is just so easier to rock. But going back to this article, I do like the rivalry low.
Oh my God. Do you struggle with that word too?
Rivalry?
Bro, I literally can't say that word. Yeah, I have to slow down, bro. I sometimes say rivalry. I'm like, what the hell is this word? Words are made up anyways. I don't care. These look like New Balances, don't they?
Like the 550s? Yeah, they do. It's that shape. Like I think people are gravitating away from the Samba just because it's like a lot of people were wearing it, and I feel like they're a little too skinny now. So like people are like slowly like bulking up, which is like why these and like the forums I think are gonna be coming back. But yeah, I don't really like the color changing aspect. Like just give me like the all white, like, you know.
Yeah, and it's just like, you know what these look like? Remember when Nike was going through all those issues of people making dupes of their shoes? People were just slapping their logo on the side where the swoosh should be. Like these kind of just, that's what these look like.
I feel it. It's like a made up shoe.
Yeah, definitely. That's what it looks like. This is that company, whatever brand or whatever creator. This is his logo here.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, this is him trying to like, oh, like these are Adidas, haha. No, they're actually my shoe. Like,
yeah, for sure. This situation is with the stripes, bro. Like,
yeah,
extra logo.
What silhouettes or companies are you leaning more so to? I know you have a lot of Nikes, so like I'm sure.
Right now, what's my rotation like by the door? I've been rocking those Air Max like DNs, their newest ones, but just like the all black colorway. I have a pair of what's in rotation right now? I can't. It's like behind a box. I like the Solomon XC6. Like that's like an everyday sneaker for me. Like just the all black or like the black with the silver. Like I was about to say swoosh, but like the logo. And then Kayano 14s for sure. Every day. And then I don't know. I've just been wearing my like, just because I have them here, is like the Wales Bonner Samba, is just the black and white. But I don't know, the tongue has been like really bothering me like on those, so I have to wear like the right pants with them. I can't just like throw them on with everything. But yeah, other than that, the rotation's really slim at the moment. Like I'm still waiting for like all my stuff to get here to like. It's so nice to just be able to not like think about like what sneaker like I'm gonna pull out this day, you know.
Low key, I feel that. Like
it was like 2 years ago, it was such like a decision process of like, oh shit, I haven't worn these in a while, or like I haven't like pulled out these in a while. But like right now, it's just like I'm just gonna wear whatever is by the door.
Do you think that's coming with age, or do you just think that like you're just gradually moving away from having so many?
I think it's a combination of both. Coming with age is just like it doesn't really matter what sneakers I'm wearing today, or like it doesn't like I don't have to put on like a crazy pair just to like get attention, you know. And it's like comfortability, like comfortability, yeah. Like what's the most comfortable thing to rock right now? But yeah.
So I feel like growing up, like middle school, high school, college, it was like almost like a fashion show. Like, look, I got that shit on today. Like, look, like these just came out. So like it was more so like that. But like as you into the workforce and like it doesn't really, it's like, oh yeah, boss, look at my new shoes. It's like, okay, get to work.
But one thing I do miss is pulling something out of like the archives though. Like going to my parents' house and finding like a pair of like Cardinal 7s that I'm like, oh shit, I could probably throw this on for a day and like pull out like an outfit I could rock with these just for like old time's sake, and like no one else is rocking them right now. And like
that's a forgotten silhouette too. 7s,
I love this silhouette.
8s, come on.
Yeah, I never got into 8s because they were like a little too heavy, like bulky with like all the straps and everything. But I did appreciate the colorways.
To this day, if I could find a dead stock pair of Aqua 8s, I'll be satisfied. And a pair of Last Shot 14s, I'll be satisfied.
Ooh, Last Shot 14s. Yeah, like those were like the ones that got away because like I couldn't afford them at the time. But Last Shot 14s are fire.
Dude, these shoes, man. I'm sure they're probably comfortable. Something that is piquing my interest just looking at these. I wonder, did the silhouette for the New Balances come out before these, or did these come out first? Because like they're just so spot on from a 550 that I'm like, who put this silhouette out first? Because this looks like if New Balance put it out first, this looks like an Adidas cash grab to kind of grab onto like that 550 lover. Because I remember when 550s came out, it was like a sneakerhead sneaker. But then like within like a year, it turned into like those Fila, like those chunky shoes that were selling out Urban Outfitters. Like they became such like a I'm disgusted with this shoe type shoe.
I mean, I guess that's like the whole like life cycle of a sneaker, right? Like something's just gonna become trending and then everyone's gonna grab them, and then you're just gonna like see everywhere and then just get tired of it. Like the Samba, like the same thing happened. Like you saw them at like PacSun, you saw them everywhere, you saw them everyone rocking them, and it's just like you get tired of seeing the same sneaker, so it's just going to go on to the next one. But going back to your point of like how, or if this sneaker came out earlier than the 550, I think they all came out around the same time as like the Jordan 1, where all the sneakers kind of like looked like this, right? Like, like that, like sole, like the basic sole and like the basic upper, and every like brand had their take on it. Because like you could say like I think it's a 650, the New Balance 650, the high top 550 kind of has the same shape as like the Jordan 1. Like that was like the basketball shoe at the time.
Yeah, I might have to do some deep digging on that. But
you ever get a pair of 550s?
Yeah, I had two. And if I had time, I would pull up the video. Like when they kind of reached that point with me, and also I had a bad experience with ALD where they sent me a pair and it looked like somebody had took like a razor and like scratched the shoes up, and I was like, hey, you guys sent me some fucked up shoes. They're like, just send them back or we'll give you 20% off. And I was like, well, that's kind of whatever.
Yeah.
So I destroyed them. I did completely destroyed the shoes. I ran them over and everything. I typically do 3 articles, but I want to, as I was waiting for you to join, I saw this article and I was like, nah, I just want to get a quick perspective on it.
Sure, let's run it. What in the world?
Bro, these are crazy. So this article reads, a beach sunset graces the Nike Air Max Plus. I'm not going to lie. I kind of fuck with them. I
see the vision.
I low key like the creativity of this shoe.
Yeah, throw the CPFM logo on it.
Oh, facts.
Like what? It is.
No, that's facts. That's exactly what this looks like. I just like. This is not a collab shoe, and I like that because, like, you know, you kind of get drowned out with so many collab sneakers nowadays. And it shows that Nike still has creativity in my perspective. Yeah. And like, this is dope. I mean, because it looks like it. It's like, when I was looking at it from like the full picture, I was like, what is that? Like, is it dirty? But like, just the material, like that's what it is. Yeah, like this is fire to me. I low key am a fan.
And it's tight too that it's not a collab because they're not going to sell out. But like they're not gonna be thrown on like everyone's radar, so it's like you're just gonna find them a boutique store and be like, oh shit, like this is a sneaker I could rock.
Imagine copping these at an outlet store. That'd be fire.
But yeah, I can see rocking these. These are crazy. I like the gradient. Like the gradient is so subtle. Like it's not like a traditional gradient, I guess. It's like it looks like it was like watercolored.
Oh yeah, it does. It does. Now
cop those.
Yeah, if y'all see me do a sneaker review on these, it's because you heard it here first. Because I low key am a fan of these, and they're retail. Wait.
I saw the $1,000.
Oh, okay.
Wait a second.
153. Okay. Now we talking. So that is going to wrap up the articles. I think, just kind of following you for as long as I've been following you, and I started watching your first YouTube video, and I definitely just feel like there's a lot of good insight that you can have as far as like the lane that you're in and the career that you're in and kind of just like your story. So the first question that I do want to ask you though is like, when did you start loving sneakers? Like, when did that become like a thing that you're like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it forever? Like,
I mean, loving sneakers came like, I'm sure like you, it came at a young age. Like when I started getting into basketball and playing basketball in middle school, like you obviously pay attention to like what sneakers you're rocking. And then my cousin was a little older. He was in high school at the time, and he introduced me to like the basketball sneakers and like basketball sneaker reviews. So that's kind of how I got into like knowing about like technology and sneakers, and like not necessarily like the hype sneakers. Like I was into like the performance aspect of basketball sneakers. So that's kind of why I was like more attracted to like the story of sneakers rather than like how much it's going to cost or like the hype of sneakers. Like I remember a story. I remember a time I went to the mall, and it was around the time the Big Bang like Kobe's came out. Like do you remember like around like around the foam pause, the Galaxy foam pause, the Big Bang LeBrons, all those came out, and they were at the Finish Line store, and they're like, hey, we have like these, but I wanted to pick up a pair of Chris Paul's because I knew they were the better basketball sneaker. So like that's kind of how like my love for sneakers started, was like more of like performance and like how a sneaker like felt rather than like looked. Fast forward to college, I started working at Champs, and this is like the time where I could like actually like buy my own sneakers, because back then like I wasn't able to afford sneakers. Like I would admire it from afar. Like my parents were always like, why are you spending this much? Like, why do you want to buy these sneakers? Like they cost this much. Yeah. So fast forward to when I worked at Champs in college to earn a little bit more money. I was just spending every paycheck on whatever sneaker was coming out that weekend. Just because like I'd see them, and I like, you obviously want to wear the like freshest pair while you're working at the store. So yeah, like I think college is really when I started like buying sneakers, paying attention to what sneakers like I could actually afford at the time, rather than just like window shopping. And that's when like the collection like started. Like that's when I was on like Facebook Marketplace and like in these like sneaker forums, like trading sneakers, buying sneakers from people, like seeing what like I could find. So yeah.
I wonder if like, because that's a great point to like sneaker culture, was like being in those forums and like being able to like, people used to trading sneakers or like selling sneakers wasn't based on like solely on having the highest price point. It was like, if somebody truly cares about this collab or like this sneaker, like you can trade like a sneaker that you might not even care about, but they care about, and they're willing to do it, even if like StockX isn't saying this or somebody isn't. Like, you used to be able to trade sneakers that you would think like there's no way you traded that sneaker before. Like,
yeah, like it was like such a dope time where people like had different things, because like you said, they were hard to get, so there were like prizes at that point. But like if you got one that you like didn't really mess with, and and then someone got one that they didn't really mess with, but you wanted like their, like you just, like it would be a trade, like there would be like transactional, like a transactional process there. It was dope.
Yeah, I remember taking a train with my cousin that he met a guy on Craigslist that was selling like some sevens, but like we literally took a train and like they just swapped sneakers and like they was like, all right, and like we just got back on the train and left. I was just like, damn, that's crazy.
For sure. Like the level of trust was nuts. Like
No, insane, bro. Especially on Craigslist. Like that was just like, now that I think about it, I'm just like, that was a crazy day.
plus there were no like legit checking websites and everything, so we kind of just like trusted that like everyone was like for the love of the game, you know, like everyone just like in the sneaker community was just like there because they loved it, and like um we all helped each other out to like to a point, you know.
So you kind of like answered in a way the second question, because I know you said you mentioned basketball, and I know I've watched another podcast that you're on that you mentioned like your dad like pushed you to like play basketball. But like, would you say like basketball influenced your style, or did your style ultimately lead into like you wanted to play basketball? Like,
I would definitely say basketball definitely influenced my style at an early age, because like that young, and like you were wearing the same shoes out that you were hooping in. Like it was like, at least I was like, I couldn't afford like a cool pair to play on court and like wear out at the same time. So like my Cardinal 7s or like my Fire Red 5s that like I'd saved for, that were used, by the way, like to buy from someone else, like I wore them on the court and like off the court, because those were the only like cool sneakers I had. So yeah, I guess basketball has always influenced my style and still kind of does to this day. Yeah.
and how important do you think, or would you say basketball is in your current life? How important is basketball still?
I think basketball is extremely important in my current life, because that's still the forefront of sneakers. Like any like we were just talking about the flu games, and then we were talking about like the Anthony Edwards. I think like sneakers kind of have to rely on a sport to like keep the like motion going, you know, like in that sport is basketball. To me at least, like growing up playing it, and just being involved in the community and like loving the sport and like the NBA and like everything that comes with. Like you see like even like the players are like walking through the tunnel with like dope fits, and like people are like gravitating towards like players like Shea and like who else is dressing well, like Jason Tatum, and like even like LeBron. Like people are paying attention to their fits on and off the court, you know. So like I think that's like plays a big factor in fashion nowadays and inspiration.
I mean, this is a quick random question. Do you play any adult leagues, or do you still pick up plays or anything?
I play like once or twice a week at like open gyms. Like I'm hooping tonight. I'm still trying to find like the runs that I like in LA. Because in Seattle, like I'd have my like weekly runs and then go to the LA Fitness to run, and like I know what time like all the homies would pull up. But like here is like obviously different. Like I'm trying to figure it out, and like trying to figure out what runs are like fun, and like what courts are nice, and like who's not like trying too hard, or like who's like you know what I'm saying. It's like I'm still trying to figure out the runs here, but I do definitely want to get back into it and run consistently.
Yeah, I got hip to like there's a big YouTube pickup game run in LA, and I got hip to that like in the pandemic. I was like, oh, this is like a whole community for real.
And when they're outdoors and like talking trash and shit, like that was like niche in itself.
And as we're talking about basketball, you going getting into loving sneakers, working at Champs, and all of that. Can you kind of tell me like how you started? Like, I want to start posting on social media and gearing towards a content creator or like influencer, like whatever term that you want to use as far as that. Like, what was that like? I'm gonna enter this, and this is what I'm gonna keep doing it, because let's just leave it at that. I'll let the ramble.
Not good. Yeah. So in high school, I picked up a camera for the first time. Like I was in a photography class and everything. And that's where I kind of learned how to take photos, and like I was in like the dark room and shit, and like what's it called? I blanking out, but taking film photos and developing my own photos. Learning photography, and like I fell in love with it. To the point where like I was trying really hard in this class, and like my teacher saw and everything, and my parents like saw that I loved it so much, so they like got me my first camera. And like with that first camera, like I just started taking photos like any like person that loves photography does. Fast forward to college, I went to school for computer science because my parents were like, no, you can't pursue a degree in art, you can't pursue a degree in like photography, because that's not that won't make you any money like in the future. So I was going to school for computer science, finished my degree and all that. And then, like I said, I was working at Champs at the time, buying all these sneakers. So I was like, why not like take photos of the sneakers that I'm bringing home and like make use out of them, and like just like have fun with it. And like, so I was taking like photos that like I could see in like the product displays, and like in like commercials, or like and just like try really hard to like take the best photo of a sneaker that I was picking up, just so like it made that purchase valid, like, you know. So yeah, I just like I really had fun doing so with that, like taking photos of sneakers, like hitting up all the homies, being like, hey, I saw you got like these Travis Scotts, or I saw you got these like UNC ones. Can I take a photo of you in front of like this light blue wall to match the sneaker? And I was like, let's link up and take photos. And they're like, sure. To the point where I was doing that like damn near every day, and like trying to figure out like what photo I could take the next day. And then I started posting them on it and posting them on Instagram, and it's all from there.
So that was your start to Instagram, was you posting the sneaker photos that you had taken?
Yeah. I mean, I think it started like, if you go all the way down my Instagram, I was like taking photos of like landscapes and go on hikes and shit, and like like PNW, like Seattle, like photos. But like it wasn't like something that like I loved doing. Yeah, until I found out taking sneakers or photos of sneakers like was fun to me, you know. So I just took it and ran with it.
So what year was that, or when did you start?
Shoot, I want to say like I was in college like 2018, 2019. And then like, yeah, 2018, 2019. How long ago was that? 6 years?
So I'm like, do you remember that era of time when people were like taking like their sneaker photos would be like them pouring milk into the shoe and like the cereal, if like it was a thing? Which honestly, I wanted to mention this in here because that Kith collab that you had got, that unboxing you did, that is beautiful. That was a beautiful overall like unboxing video, but also the overall work that went into that whole thing was crazy. I was like, what the?
Thank you.
That was fire.
Yeah, I think going back to the pouring cereal and sneakers, I think I came. What? Do you remember what sneaker that? I think it was. I think I started taking photos after that, like corny era of like sneakers.
Because people were doing it with some of Travis Scott's, like especially when he did that cereal collab. I seen some people still kind of doing it, but like this, like back then, like I would say like 2000, like 15, 14 and stuff, like that's when I feel like I was seeing that more often, like people doing it with Yeezys and shit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was in the midst of it, but like I wasn't paying attention to that. Like I was trying to make art. I was trying to make art, bro. Like that's like that was like levels to trying to like go viral. I'm like, yeah, like that's part of the sneaker culture that I don't like. You know, like the ice cream out of the Ben and Jerry's, and like that's like why, like that's not the purpose of the sneaker, bro. Like why are you doing that?
Yeah, so that was a interesting time, man. It's like I feel like now people like, you know, take a lot of inspiration from that guy, Arab Lincoln, I think that's his name, or his Instagram name, where he's like
for
laying
sure.
the laces perfectly, or like creating images with the laces or like using light. Like I feel like that's more so where the sneaker photos have kind of transitioned to. Because his pictures are, I mean, when I used to take sneaker pictures like in the pandemic, like that was definitely heavily inspired by him. So I didn't have another question for you, but I do, as always, when I get content creators on here, especially to like your level, just like how engaging your videos on Reels and like YouTube are, like what advice would you give someone who's like, that looks too complicated? Like I don't like, it looks too hard. Like you kind of have it like set up to where, what am I trying to say? Like for somebody who's like, I want to start creating content, but I don't know how to do it. And they look at your videos like, I like his videos, but how do I get to that point, or how do I get to that level of creating content? Like what advice would you give someone that's like seeking that?
I think the best advice is just to like put in reps. Like I think like it's just like getting good at any sport. Like you gotta like practice, you gotta learn like the basics, like the fundamentals of everything, like all the techniques that could get you to a point that your videos look good. Like even like I'm like 3 YouTube videos in, I'm like waiting for the day. It's just gonna keep like getting better. But like to get there, like you're gonna have to put in the reps and like just like start out being trash, you know, like your first video isn't gonna be like knock it out the park, you know, it's gonna be like it might be bad, like, but the fact that you put it out there and you try it and like learn something from it is like the goal, right? Like it's part of the process. Like you just gotta trust learning something new every day, or learning like or just like being 1% better every time you go out and make something, which is like the goal for any type of medium, whether it's video, whether it's photography, whether it's like starting a podcast or like interviews. Like the first one's not going to be good, like, but like the hundredth one, or even like maybe like the 10th one is going to be better for sure. So like you just gotta put in the reps and just like don't rely on your final destination of like being the greatest, but like rely on like the process and what you're gonna learn through it.
No, I agree. That's like I think another thing too, people like get caught up on is like, let's say you drop your first video and it does amazing, but it's like you have to keep going. Like you may only get like so many views on this one that you thought you did well on, but like it only gets this amount. Or like, you know, you put out this reel and it gets 10,000. It's like, okay, cool, I'm on the track. But then like your next reel you put out, you only might get 4,000 or 5,000. Like
for sure.
It's like, don't get caught up in the numbers. Always try like the number thing is like you get lost in that easily.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think the best advice is just to like create what you love, or like create what's fulfilling to you, and like don't worry about the numbers. Like I mean, I get caught up in like the numbers and likes and shit all the time, but it's just like sometimes you gotta take a step back and like realize why you picked up the camera in the first place, or like why like you're creating in the first place. Like you're like there to make your own art and like put that out into the world, and like views and numbers shouldn't matter if you're like it's fulfilling to you, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I think it's like content, as more people get into like the field of creating something and putting it on either Instagram or YouTube, like it's so niche too. Like there's YouTubers I watch, like their video quality is trash, but like they have my attention. Like they're either entertaining me or something, like they're making me laugh. So I don't really care about the video quality. I'm like, oh, these dudes are funny, I'm about to watch their videos. And like it's like it's all a process. And like you find the people who rock with you, and then it's like that's who you keep creating content for. Like
100%.
for yourself, like, and then the people who like you.
Like I think the future of content is gonna be personality based, rather than who could make the best video, who could like film the best. But it's like personality based, and like you're gonna figure out who you mess with that's like true to themselves. Like, you know, like you're gonna figure out who like isn't like bullshitting this whole like content creator career, and like you're gonna figure out who's like actually doing it for the love of the game, you know, like yeah. And then that's like the future, I feel like.
They're not putting on a persona. It's always though, like I always tell people, every time I interact with people on here, I'm just like, this is our first time ever talking like this. And it's not like awkward. It's not like, oh, I guess like, you know, it's just like you're actually who you portray yourself as online. And I think that's always dope when I meet people through this form of like, you know, creators are like, you know, Instagram or YouTube, wherever the case may be. Like, it's super dope. Just like, oh yeah, like it matches. Like, it's not fake.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's really all I have, man. I always definitely want to appreciate you taking your time. You know, you got a big move going on. So I definitely appreciate you hopping on here and just sharing your wisdom and your perspective on things.
Sure, bro. I appreciate you for having me. I like what you're doing with this whole interview thing. Like, can't wait to see where like you take it, you know? Like, hopefully it's like to the point where you could set up a whole studio and like fly people out to like talk and like
that's the goal, bro. I've been thinking about that for a long time. Like, just that, like, I think of like Joe Budden's podcast or whatever, like being able to have a setup like that, that'd be ideal.
This is a start. You're already putting in the reps. Like, you're already making the right moves, you know?
All right, so Greg, 5 years from now, you're watching this, you already did it.
I'm flying.
No, literally, you're about to
flying up to Austin, Texas.
But yeah, that's gonna wrap up this video. And like, damn, I messed it up. But without further ado, like I always do, I'll catch you in the next one.
But I love the way you work it. Hey, I love the way you work it.